What is going on, team? My name is Cullen McDonald. I'm an activist based out of Toronto, Ontario. I'm a patriot and I'm a human being. Today, I bring a call to action, a non-partisan request for anyone that wishes to do more and to actually make a difference in this fight. As many of you know, on March 16th, our government, through the recommendation of the World Health Organization, put Canada in a state of emergency that resulted in a countrywide lockdown of all people. We were told at that time that the principal idea was to protect the hospitals from being overrun, and we were given a timeline of 2 weeks. That was over 80 days ago, and yet we are still in lockdown. We have learned a lot since then. We know the individual risks. We know the case fatality rate and how dismally low and incorrect their original projections were. Yet we're still inside. Our country has been destroyed. Our economy has been abolished. Lives have been lost, not only due to the virus, but due to the draconian measures of this lockdown: suicide, mental health, depression, anxiety, addiction, spousal abuse, real problems that affect millions of Canadians that are being ignored by our government. Like many of you, I have thought to myself, what can I do? What can I do about this? I have to do something. So I started on Facebook. I started typing posts, and I quickly realized that my information was being censored. I was being told that it was misinformation and it was dangerous. Well, once my voice was silenced online, I took to the streets and I started protesting at the Queen's Park protests in Toronto. And again, I quickly realized that our message was not being heard. The mainstream media have not and still are not covering the protests. So I've talked to a bunch of individuals and I thought, well, what more can we do? How can we get our message? And I have come in contact with a few different individuals and organizations that all have a collective idea which has worked in the past against issues very similar to what we're facing today. The idea is we want to make a mail-in letter campaign where we inundate our Prime Minister's office with letters, handwritten letters, not emails. Because that, again, was something that I tried. I've written over 24 emails, not one reply. MPs, our premiers, our Prime Minister, our health ministers, I've emailed countless people and have not received one reply. So email isn't working. Our protests are not working. We need to do something else, and we believe, based on experience in the past, that a letter campaign is the best thing we can do. So we have two requests. I personally have two requests of you guys. First, I'd like to know if you can share with me any ideas or any organizations that you feel would be in the most pain right now and that would likely join our movement. What we need to do is unite as many groups and organizations together. So organizations that have been the hardest hit, such as tourism, restaurants, travel, event planning, sports, churches and religions, everything down to gun right activist groups, 5G, activist groups against vaccines, small businesses, gyms, you name it. If you have an idea of a group or organization that would get behind this, or if you personally would like to get behind this, what I ask is that we all get together. Now, I personally am going to be writing emails, and I'm working with a gentleman by the name of Sylvain Henry. And again, we have combined our efforts with a couple different large organizations, and the plan is to start on June 15th and making our way up to July 1st, Canada Day, where we will be sending more and more letters in a scheduled fashion, leading up to July 1st, where we plan to inundate Justin Trudeau's office with as many letters as physically possible. I'm talking about literally tons of mail. Hundreds of thousands of letters will be received. And that's the important takeaway, is that unlike emails, they can't be ignored. They must be received. They must go through the mail process. And that is the way that our message will be heard. It will not be censored. It will be received and it will be noticed. And that is one step towards a greater future for all of us. Now, what I want to remind everyone is once this lockdown ends, and as many of you can see, as parks start to reopen and other provinces are reopening, that doesn't just end this fight. Okay? There are questions that need to be answered. For example, what is our economic bounce back plan? What is our plan to get our economy back? Now, so far, I haven't seen any plan from our government or Justin Trudeau, and they need to be held accountable. Also, there was no formal letter or announcement ever made by the government that justified this lockdown and supported evidence that justified the lockdown. We never received that, and that is not okay. These people need to be held accountable, and we need our voices to be heard. So, if you agree with this message, I invite you, please reach out to me either through Facebook. My name is Cullen McDonald, or by email. My email is cullen.mcdonald10@gmail.com, or my partner, Sylvain Henry. That's SLYVAIN.henry@gmail.com. Remember, guys, where we go one, we go all. And united we stand, divided we fall. We must unite, regardless of our position, regardless of what it is that we have to fight for. We all need to unite and have our message heard. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please reach out to me.